Ted Smith did not start out being evil. In fact, he worked in Hollywood creating props and other physical effects. However, after many years, his evil side started to surface. He left the film industry to share his tips and tricks with folks doing cosplay. From that, evil Ted Smith, along with his website, emerged. Hello, Ted. Welcome.
Hey, Larry. How you doing?
I am talking to you. I'm doing great. What first got you interested in creating props for film?
I think I was 14 years old and I saw Star Wars like anybody did. As a kid, I was like, oh, my God, it's amazing. How do you make this stuff? And I found out very quickly there was no things in the library or things to go to. There was no YouTube or Internet back then. So I just started taking cardboard and duct tape and glue and putting stuff together.
I love the cardboard and duct tape image. That's very cool.
Yeah, literally, you just worked as a kid. I didn't have the access to all this stuff, so I just used what I had access to as a kid. So it was just, literally cardboard and duct tape. I made my mom a stormtrooper costume out of poster board for a Halloween party.
You work with the resources you have at hand, don't you?
Exactly. Necessity is the mother of invention, Larry. It was just like, I need this stuff. And Star Wars came out, and I learned really quickly in Star Trek and things. If I saw something on TV and it didn't exist and I wanted it, I just realized very quickly I had to make it. And I just used what I had. So most of it in the beginning was cardboard and stuff. And I grew to my way to working with wood and plastic and stuff like that. But I was very primitive. And when I finally went professional in 1989, I was 25 years old. I moved to California. And that's when I got exposed to, like mold making and casting resins and fiberglass and vacuum forming machines. And like, mine was blown. And I was like, I was unstoppable.
I swear, half the people working in Hollywood had their careers changed when Star Wars came out.
And I think nobody saw it on the horizon. I don't think George Lucas saw it coming either. I think they made this movie, and like anything, when you make a movie, you release it and you're just terrified, and nobody had the idea, the phenomenon it had, the impact of creating this world, and people bought it. And, it was just, I was always into sci-fi and comic books, but Star Wars, I always tell people, was what tipped me over the edge. I wanted more. Like, this is amazing. I want to do this. So,
your bio uses terms like maker and builder. What do those mean to you?
Makers and builders. It's just that there's people that want stuff. I think that people like, I want this and want that, and they just buy it. And like, I want this costume, and they just want to buy it off the shelf. And as a maker, the journey is to make it yourself. Not only it's the passion. I always tell people, passion overrides talent. If you want something bad enough, you'll be able to make it. And I've known so many people, I have friends of mine who are mad talented, but they're lazy. It's like they could make something, but they choose not to. And there's people out there who are not that talented, but they want to have the passion to make it. And if they stick to it long enough, they'll end up making it themselves because they don't have the money to make it, or buy it, that is, but they still have the passion to make it. And if you make it yourself, you don't have to spend nearly as much money. And so, it's just the makers, the people just want something bad enough, they make it themselves.
Your professional career in film encompassed virtually every blockbuster Hollywood has ever turned out since the beginning of time. What did cosplay have that attracted you? Why did you leave the film industry and shift so radically?
I think what it was for me was that Hollywood was amazing. Don't get me wrong. I loved it while I was in it, and it's a young man's sport. I started in my 20s, which is the perfect time to start, and I ran with it, fun in the 20s, great in the 30s, in the 40s, like, it's okay. By the time I hit my 50s, I'm like, this is a young man's sport. I was done. So I couldn't work 15, 16 hours a day anymore, and you do anything 8 hours a day over and over again, it becomes a job, and I found out really quickly that when I had my own time and my free time, I wasn't building or making anything. I spent all that time into working in the movies. So any free time I had, I stopped making things. I didn't make for the pleasure or the joy anymore. And there was a downtime. I was unemployed for a duration of time, and I just wanted to make something for myself. So I made a simple little video on how to make a foam helmet. And it blew up, and it made people like, oh, my God, I can do this out of foam. And that brought the joy back to me. I turned into a 14-year-old boy again when I saw Star Wars. And I realized that's what it was, that brought the joy back to me. It turned into a job, and then it became less fun, and then now it's not a job anymore. Now I get to do what I want to do, make what I want to make, and just have the joy of sharing my talent with other people, and it made it fun again.
Well, would you describe that as the goal that you have in creating movies for your website, is spreading the joy?
Yes, exactly. It's to spread the joy, and also I want to take the intimidation out of building, because what happened was when I was growing up, if you wanted to make something, you had to use wood or plastic, or you needed power tools and all this high-end stuff. And I realize now that floor mat foam or EVA foam and just craft foam, you don't need power tools. You need a sharp knife and a cutting mat and some intuition and desire. And you don't need all this stuff now. And so I realized you can make a Hollywood-style prop and costume for a fraction of the budget in your own, on your kitchen table.